Good afternoon, all. So, yesterday lecture we had discussed about the restriction enzymes and how the biotechnology process can work. We had taken the foreign DNA and the plasmid as a vector, and we had used the EcoR1 enzyme, and with the help of that enzyme we had formed the sticky ends. Then with the help of DNA ligase enzyme, joining of the foreign DNA with plasmid. Then the plasmid is known as recombinant plasmid. That recombinant plasmid now entered in the E. coli bacteria and then cultivated in the cultural medium. So many copies of the E. coli bacteria form the recombinant plasmid. So now today we will discuss the separation and isolation of the DNA fragment. Here we have cut the DNA at a specific site. That particular sequence is known as palindromic chain. Now the DNA fragments can be separated and isolated by one process is known as gel electrophoresis method. So, in gel electrophoresis method, we use the gel that is known as agarose gel. Also known as agar-agar gel. Now, as you know that in third chapter of 11th standard we had discussed that chlorella and gelidium, from this algae we isolate the agarose gel. So how this electrophoresis method perform? See, DNA fragment is negatively charged. Please remember this. Normally DNA molecule is negatively charged. Due to presence of phosphate group. So here in gel electrophoresis method we apply the electric field. Two electrodes are kept. One is positive electrode and one is negative one. So as you know that when electric field is applied, then this negatively charged particle can accumulate over the positive electrode. So this negatively charged molecule. It is attracted towards positive electron. As a result, here what happened, that over the positive electrode, DNA fragments are collected on this. And here, now you see that the isolated DNA fragments can be now stained by DNA fragments can be isolated over the positive electrodes. Now it is stained by ethidium bromide. As a result, orange color is seen. Now the orange color strips are present over the nylon membrane or nitrocellulose. So now this DNA fragments can be stained by ethidium bromide. So over nitrocellulose or nylon membrane. Okay, and this process is known as elution. See, this is elution, and before the word that evolution, that is of 7th chapter. Fine, so don't confuse between the evolution and elution word. Let's see in detail from textbook. Cutting of the DNA by restriction endonuclease result in the fragments of the DNA. Now here we obtain the sticky ends of the DNA. These fragments can be separated by the technique known as gel electrophoresis. Since DNA fragments are negatively charged molecule, they can be separated by forcing them to move towards the anode. So here positively electrode. Positive electrode is known as anode. Under an electric field through the medium or the matrix. Nowadays, the most commonly used matrix is agarose, which is natural polymer extracted from the seaweeds. The DNA fragments separate, that is resolved, according to their size through sieving effect provided by agarose gel. Here, first of all, what happened? Just nearer to the gel electrophoresis method, in that over the agarose gel, initial region in that thick fragments are seen commonly, and when you move towards the distal end, the fragments become thin. Hence, the smaller the fragment size, the farther it moves. Look at the figure 11.3 and guess at which end of the gel the sample was loaded. So, over the largest side, the sample was loaded over the largest side fragment. Fine, the sample was loaded. Initial region in the thick fragments are seen, and when you move further, then the thin fragments can be seen. Separated DNA fragments can be visualized only after staining the DNA with a compound known as ethidium bromide. Now, when you stain the DNA fragments with ethidium bromide, and we have to see under UV rays application. By exposure to UV rays, you cannot see pure DNA fragments in the visible light and without staining. If you take the fragments isolated on the anode and you apply the visible light, you are unable to identify the DNA fragments. First of all, what you have to do, you have to stain the DNA fragments with ethidium bromide stain and then apply UV rays over it, and then you see the orange color bands. You can see bright orange colored bands of the DNA in an ethidium bromide stained gel exposed to UV light. The separated bands of the DNA are cut out from the agarose gel and extracted from the gel piece. See, DNA fragments are now attached with the gel. We have to cut or we have to dissociate the DNA fragment with the agarose gel, and that procedure is known as elution. This step is known as elution. The DNA fragments purified in this way are used in constructing recombinant DNA by joining them with cloning vectors. Now you isolate the specific DNA fragment, select it, the proper DNA fragment, and then with the help of DNA ligase enzyme, you attach this foreign DNA fragment to the vector. So this is about separation and isolation of the DNA fragment. Now the 4-mark question, see, gel electrophoresis method will be asked in 3 mark or might be MCQs from this. Now 4-mark question, cloning vector. From this, I want to tell you only one thing. See, this is the most important one. The plasmid and bacteriophage are the cloning vectors. The most important MCQ. You know that plasmid and bacteriophages have the ability to replicate within the bacterial cells independent of control of chromosomal DNA. Here, in initial of this chapter, one topic is omitted. Fine. But here in that process, the one line is given there. Vector is suitable for the foreign DNA. The number of copies formed of the DNA fragment, foreign DNA fragment, that is decided by the DNA itself. Okay, so here the main criteria for this recombinant technology is this: foreign DNA can successfully attach with the plasmid, cannot affect the origin site of the DNA fragment, and after recombination, as required, the number of copies of recombinant plasmid can able to form. અહીંયા જે ઇકોલાઈ બેક્ટેરિયા કે બેક્ટેરિયોફેજ એઝ અ વેક્ટર જે આપણે યુઝ કરીએ છીએ, according to its divisional capacity, according to the number of copies formed per cell, we obtain the same number of copies of recombinant plasmid. Let's see. Bacteriophage, because of their high number per cell, have very high copy numbers of their genome within the bacterial cell. So compared to plasmid, bacteriophage has high replicating capacity. Some plasmid may have only 1 or 2 copies per cell. Okay, so some plasmid some plasmid has ability to form minimum 1 or 2 copies per cell, whereas others have 50 to 100 copies per cell. Their numbers can go even higher. If we are able to link the alien piece of the DNA with the bacteriophage or the plasmid DNA, we can modify the gene of replication According to that, we increase the capacity of forming the very high number of copies per cell. We can multiply its numbers equal to the copy number of the plasmid or bacteriophage. If we are able to modify, if we are able to recombinant the plasmid or the bacteriophage per cell, so according to the ability of forming the copy per cell, we can obtain the same number of copies of plasmid or bacteriophage which is recombinant according to the cell. Vectors used at present are engineered in such a way that they help easy linking of foreign DNA and selection of recombinants from non-recombinants. Here there are so many bacteriophage, so if we exchange the DNA fragment and we are able to form the recombinant plasmid, we isolate this recombinant plasmid from non-recombinants which are not useful. Fine. So here in this only two MCQs are there. Bacteriophage and plasmid are cloning vectors, minimum 1 to 2 copy to maximum 15 to 100 copies per cell. The following are the features that are required to facilitate the cloning into vector. Here majority 4 features are there. First, origin of replication. It is OD site. Selectable markers. Cloning sites. Vectors for cloning genes in plants and in animals. Okay, so first of all, let's see the origin of replication. Here, see the diagram. PBR 322 is given there. Here, on the PBR 322, one site was given there ori, green color fragment you see, that is known as origin of replication. Replication starts from here, from origin site up to the site at which replication occurs. Number of copies per cells are produced, that everything can be decided by the small fragment of the DNA, that is gene, present here. See, origin of replication. This is the sequence from where replication starts, and any piece of the DNA when linked to this sequence can be made to replicate within the host cell. So we have to care about that the foreign DNA fragment can be now coming in contact with the origin of replication site. If we are able to join the foreign DNA with this origin site, we are able to form the foreign DNA copies according to the number of cells. This sequence is also responsible for controlling the copy numbers of the linked DNA. So if one wants to recover many copies of the target DNA, it should be cloned in the vector whose origins support high copy number. જેને ફોરેન ડીએનએની વધારે કોપીઝ જોઈએ છે, એને વધારે કોપીઝ ફોર્મ કરે એવું ઓરિજિન સાઇટ વાળું પ્લાઝમિડ સિલેક્ટ કરવાનું થશે. If we select the many numbers of copies per cell producing plasmid, and if we are able to join the foreign DNA to it, we are able to form the highest copy per cell, fine, according to the desired number. Okay, second is selectable marker, but I will tell you it later on, because selectable marker, the topic is connected to the cloning site. So I want to draw the cloning site. Here 2 mark question is there. Only draw the diagram of PBr 322 plasmid, and specifically 3 mark question, explain cloning sites with diagram. So first of all I will draw the diagram, then which are the cloning sites over there and which are the selectable marker. According to the 2 topics I will discuss this here. See, first I will draw the cloning sites. So this is the most important diagram, PBR 322, but here P is small, B and R are capital, 322 number, that is recombinant plasmid. See, here you know that minimum one cloning site is present on the PBR 322 plasmid, but here two genes are responsible for this. Generally, E. coli bacteria cannot resist to any antibiotic drug. Like fumagillin, tetracycline, bezitracin, kanamycin, ampicillin, etc. Okay. Generally, any E. coli bacteria you select, no any E. coli bacteria can resist towards any antibiotic drug. I have told to you some antibiotic drugs in 10th chapter. Amoxicillin, ciprofloxacin, ampicillin, okay, penicillin, tetracycline, fumagillin, bezitracin, kanamycin, azithromycin, roxithromycin. So many names I had given that. But here, PBR 322, see, but here plasmid of PBR 322 has two genes to resist to antibiotic drugs. Dear all students, please understand it properly. Here in this topic, I will tell you that what is selectable marker. Okay. So here the PBR 322 has two plasmid. The plasmid has two genes, ampicillin resisted gene and tetracycline resisted gene. So two genes are ampicillin resisted gene, but here carefully you see that if PVU1 and PST1. PVU1. These all are restriction enzymes, restriction nuclease enzymes. So some of them can produce the sticky end and some of them produce the blunt end. So here for all this restriction enzymes formation, the genes are present over the plasmid at this region. You know that, as I told you earlier, that origin of replication, it starts from this region. And here replication of the polypeptide. Okay. So the protein strand is from here, that is of PVU2. So ampicillin resisted gene has two genes. If the plasmid has both the gene PVU1 and PST1, both the genes, then and then it is able to resist against the ampicillin drug. PVU1 and PST1. So please you remember that if PVU1 and PST1 both the genes are there, then and then resisted against the ampicillin can be performed. Now another resisted gene present over it is known as tetracycline resisted gene. So here the tetracycline resisted gene can consist. Here, dear all students, one mistake is there. I want to clarify to you. Here, tetracycline resisted gene can consist the three genes, HIND3, BAMH1 and SAL1. But HIND3, the labeling is given here. Actually, HIND3 comes here. Okay, but for gaining the marks, you have to write as it is manner in your paper. Okay, so here PVU1 and PST, both the genes are there, both the enzymes are there, then and then by the help of the two genes resisted against the ampicillin can be performed. Similar to that, if the plasmid has BAMH1, SAL1 and along with that HIND3, then and then resisted against tetracycline can be there. Now the sentence is given what? Let's see. This is given. If we cut the plasmid and this BAMH1 gene, if we will cut the plasmid at BAMH1 gene and here, and instead of BAMH1 restriction nuclease enzyme producing gene, if we introduce new foreign DNA at this region, then what happened? Then the plasmid lost its resistance power against the tetracycline. Now, if we cut the plasmid at the BAMH1 site, then the plasmid lost its resistance power against the tetracycline, but it has resistance power against the ampicillin as it is. So now we isolate the recombinant plasmid which is unable to resist against tetracycline, and the plasmid which resists against the ampicillin. So here what happened? Now conclusion of this statement, if we cut the DNA at BAMH1 site and attach the new foreign DNA at this site, so now this recombinant plasmid can easily grow in ampicillin consisting medium. But not able to grow in tetracycline containing media. So recombinant plasmid is able to grow in ampicillin containing medium, but tetracycline containing medium it is unable to grow. Okay. One thing, if someone says that sir, if we cut the plasmid instead of BAMH1, if I will cut the DNA plasmid at PBU1 site, so then what happened? Yes, you are absolutely right. If you cut the plasmid at PBU1, then you attach new foreign DNA at this site. So the newly formed plasmid can lost what? Resistance power against ampicillin. So that recombinant plasmid cannot grow in ampicillin containing medium, but in tetracycline containing medium it is able to grow. So here what you have to do here, what you are doing here, and that is known as selectable marker. If I will introduce BAMH1 and SAL1 genes in a plasmid, so ampicillin resistance, tetracycline resistance is the selectable marker. If I will apply the PVU1 and PST1 gene in the plasmid, then ampicillin resistance is the selectable marker. So selectable marker can be selected by our desired character. Okay, so here this is about the information of selectable marker and cloning site. So here I can stop now. Next thing we will discuss in next lecture. Hope you understand it properly. Thank you very much all.